Are you tired of people assuming there's drama with influencers that weren't there? What was the budget? How much did you spend? We're gonna get into all of this. Welcome back to the vlog. So glad you answered my FaceTime call because we are about to fucking chat. Like truly, I was thinking about how to integrate this into some kind of like regular vlog as I get back into like vlogging regular life, but I feel as if like the same way that I've done with a few other friends already and just given them the full start to finish wedding breakdown and like catch up call, I feel like we can't move on until we do that. So anyways, grab a snack, grab a little drinky drink maybe, because I think this is gonna be a long one. Hello, a quick interruption to say that I am now, but I was fully not aware that I missed a huge chunk filling in my eyebrow right here. So anyways, just want to pop in and say, yes, I also realize how unfortunate this is for me. Okay, back to you, past Lauren. I asked you on Instagram to send me some questions for the post-wedding debrief. And y'all, this is like one chunk of them. Just one chunk of them. Y'all had questions, and I am here to hopefully satisfy and answer as many of them as I can. I also just did like wild screenshotting, and so like these are not organized. I'm just gonna go like there's no specific structure to this video. We are just chatting and catching up and giving you all of the details about literally everything start to finish of the wedding day. I truly cannot thank you all enough for just I don't think I realized how emotionally invested so many of you have been in the wedding planning and also just like being with me for whether it be a year or over a decade. Your girl has been fucking just crying. I've just been crying since the wedding for 2 weeks now, just straight crying. Did I start my period today? Yes, absolutely. And so I am emotional. I literally just felt the tear ducts in my eyes open up and moisten. So sorry for the use of the word moisten, but that's the truth. So anyways, I just want to say thank you. All of the comments have been so incredibly thoughtful. Thank you to every silent viewer who's never left a comment and decided for one of the wedding vlogs to be the first comment that they ever leave on any of my content. I appreciate you, I see you, and thank you so much. I cannot tell you how grateful we are from both Jeremy and I. Anyways, without further ado, if you have your motherfucking snack, let's get into the questions. Because truthfully, I think this is gonna be a really long video. I've got my slug in the back, my furry slug. I just posted the first like main photos of the pups at the wedding. There were a few people in my DMs who were borderline harassing me with love. So much harassment with love, with love. That's the most important part here for pup pics, and those are now officially up. I have so many photos. I paid a premium to get my videos, like my teaser for the video and the photos much quicker than usual. The typical timeline and turnaround for wedding content is like 3 to 6 months. And I can't wait that long. I can't wait that long. I would literally explode. I can't wait that long. So, I paid the premium. And so anyways, I have so many photos and I don't know what to do with myself. So if anyone has any suggestions on how to continue sharing without being fucking annoying, because I'm sure there will come a point when everyone's like, okay, we get it, you got married, shut the fuck up. So I'm sure that day will come, but I don't think it's yet. And so in the meantime, I'm trying to figure out what to do with myself with all of these photos because there are so many. Okay, questions, here we go. Where are you going for your honeymoon? So, as you can tell from socials, we have been mostly carcassing on the couch since the wedding, and I wouldn't change a goddamn thing. Oh my God. I have never carcassed so hard in my entire life. I have never needed, emotionally and physically, I have never needed cark time more than post-wedding. So honeymoon stuff is still up in the air, TBD. We might do a trip to Mykonos in Greece, either in June or in the fall. but it's still up in the air. But we're kind of toying with the idea of doing Mykonos. It's been on both of our bucket lists forever, and if you have any suggestions, I would love, or if you have any advice, maybe that's not the move in Greece. I feel like the general gist of what I've seen online is that Santorini is overrun with tourists now, and so Mykonos is maybe the move. I don't know, let me know. That's the idea that we're currently toying with, but not going on a honeymoon directly after the wedding was the best thing that we ever did. There's a few questions about like untraditional decisions that we made, and this I think is becoming more and more popular, but it's still definitely like, I feel like in the little more untraditional category. So many people started their messages with like, hey, I know you're on your honeymoon, but, and I was like, oh girl, I am rotting on the couch right now. I have not showered in 3 days. I am eating the most sodium-filled goodness foods of my entire life right now, and leftover wedding cake. I am nowhere tropical currently. I think the main thing for us though was that we just had so many friends and family that were in town, and like I can't fathom planning a trip after planning an entire wedding. Like, I think about how much of the wedding planning process was running through my brain for the last 9 months. I can't even fathom the idea of adding trip planning on top of that to do immediately after. We needed that cark time and that like time to decompress. How was your mom and her back during the wedding? Did she still enjoy the day? She did. Thank you so much for asking. I think it was it in the vlog? It was in one of the pre-wedding vlogs when I started talking about how one of the things that was going wrong pre-wedding is that my mom had some kind of to be determined back injury. So she's gotten her MRI results since then, and she has not 1 but 2 slipped discs in her back. So for her to be able to fly cross continent to come spend the wedding weekend with us means more than we could ever put into words. And she is on the mend. Tippy Tappy's entering. Hi, ring bearer number 1. Number 2. One of the ring bearers, I don't know. She's on the mend, and unfortunately with slip discs, you really just have to rely on rest to heal up. So she's headed in the right direction and starting to feel better. And yes, she was able to still enjoy herself. She didn't miss out on anything, which I think was the overall goal of the wedding day. Did you eat during your wedding? Oh my God, this is one of the biggest tips that I got from other brides leading up to the wedding, is how important it is to make time to eat. I was eating good during the wedding. We had arranged with our planner to, every time we had like a little rest or a little break, she would bring us food. And so I got to enjoy all of the food, all of the appetizers. Literally immediately after the ceremony, Jeremy and I got like 15, maybe even 30 minutes of just like solo together time right after the ceremony to like sit down, hang out, have a little moment together, eat our little appetizers, have our first little drinky drink, and it was amazing. That was another recommendation that I got from a friend, is like take that 20 minutes immediately after ceremony to, again, just like decompress and be with each other and be alone for the first time as husband and wife, or husband and husband, or wife and wife, whatever it may be. I loved that part of the night so much. And then also for dinner, we got served first, which was really nice. And so everyone was kind of milling about, just like chatting, getting seated, and they immediately brought our dinner out. And both of us are a pretty fast eater, but the way that I absolutely inhaled the dinner and the cake. The only thing that I didn't find my way to were the desserts at the end of the night, because you had to like go to those, and I just honestly totally got swept up in the night and forgot about them. But I'm so glad that I got to experience them during the wedding food tasting that we did in the summer, I think, because the food, 10 out of 10. Throwing of a bouquet, question mark? Bouquet, tomato. I feel like I truly get so nervous saying the word bouquet now. Bouquet, let's go bouquet. No, didn't throw it. Honestly, she was too beautiful and I wanted to preserve her, and I couldn't stomach the idea of parting with her and tossing her into the air. And so anyways, I'm working with Pressed Florals in Utah. They currently have my bouquet and are in the drying process of all of the flowers so that we can preserve it, and I am so excited. So I guess that's something that's also falls into that category of untraditional or non-traditional. Is untraditional a word? That sounds weird in my head now. Untraditional? Non-traditional? Anyways, kept her because she was too beautiful to part with. What was the bathroom experience in the dress? Had a few questions about the peeing situation because I did post a photo of myself on the toilet in all of my wedding attire. That was probably an overshare on my part, but that's okay. Anyways, I had a really tight corset area here, so like from here to here, like my waistline was incredibly tight with boning. So someone asked why I didn't just like take it off, and there is just no world where that was an option. So because my train was so long, when it was bustled, I could pee regular and just like hike everything up really carefully. But when I had my train just like fully in its full entirety length, I was sitting backwards, hugging the back of the toilet with my train behind me, doing a pee that way. And it was so incredibly efficient. Highly recommend if you have a dress that's a similar style or shape to mine. The only thing is that you do have to take your underwear and any shapewear you have fully off, because you have to like obviously have your legs fully at the back of the toilet. Again, maybe this is oversharing. Hopefully it's helpful. The peeing situation was very much a hugging the back of the toilet and saying a prayer. Were the candles fake? Oh my God, yes. There are so many rules in LA and California specifically about not having anything that's like real fire. So we had cool sparklers is also what they're called. I'll pop a photo on screen, but it's essentially a heatless electric situation because so much of California is just like consistently in a drought, and the risks of setting the entire venue on fire are incredibly high and would be so tragic. Most outdoor venues don't allow any kind of like real flame. Oh, what did you end up actually using from your emergency kit? So I made this little video of all of the things that I packed in my emergency kit, and I'm trying to think. So the one thing that I know we did end up using was the double-sided booby tape to keep my mom's, the sides of her backless dress strapped down at the side. She had a bra sewn into her dress, so keeping the sides down was just like so easy and so perfect. Used that. We used the lint roller after we picked up the dogs for photos, and Jeremy had a whole bunch of dog fur on his suit. Lint rollers, gum. I was so thirsty during all of the photos. I was trying to find the balance of staying hydrated, but also not having to pee so much because the peeing situation, as you know, was a little bit difficult. And so gum, double-sided booby tape, and lint roller. And Mia had a migraine the morning of and made a miraculous recovery, but I think she might have, I don't think she took a Pepto, but maybe. Kelsey also brought some CBD oil that I know she took, but that might be it. Regardless, I have never regretted overpacking and over-preparing in my entire life. There's nothing that I would have subtracted from the emergency kit. Not a question, but I've never seen a group photo being taken with all the guests before. Such a fun idea. I love this photo so much. It's so hard to get obviously 100 people all in the exact same area and have everyone's like little head be seen in the photo. I'll pop a photo on screen, but it was such a great way to also get everyone onto the dance floor all at once. Highly recommend. It was something that our planner recommended as like a fun little trick to get everyone out of their seats instead of the DJ having to be like, and everyone head to the dance floor for our first like group dance. So much easier to herd everyone over for a group picture, which ends up being obviously an incredible memory. And then someone has to make the conscious decision to not stay and dance, where it's easier to just stay and dance. And it worked so well. How hard was it to find a venue that you both liked and agreed on? We walked into Hummingbird Nest Ranch, and I have the venue tour vlog if you want to go back and rewatch it, but we walked into that venue, the first venue that we had ever toured, and we're like, holy fucking shit, this place is perfect. Does it get better than this? And we obviously went and continued our tours through the other two venues that we saw that day, but just to make sure that it wasn't like because it was the very first venue that we were seeing, but I think that we both walked in and immediately knew. Would you recommend doing the first look before the ceremony? So Jeremy touches on this in I think the last podcast episode, or maybe it's the next one that we uploaded. No. It's the last podcast, like the wedding debrief podcast episode. Also, if you want more Jeremy answered questions about the wedding, we did a whole debrief episode post podcast. So I'll have that link in the description box. But Jeremy spoke to this, and so I'm just gonna reiterate what he said. So initially, Jeremy's preference was to do the first look coming down the aisle in front of everyone. My preference was to do the first look beforehand, to be able to do it privately just between us two, and then that gives you like 2 extra hours or as much time as you can allocate to do all of like your couples and family and like portrait photos before the ceremony starts. It just extends the day so much. And so he did post-wedding agree that that was definitely the way to go. It was so nice having that moment just be private and just the two of us, and also like getting the pre-ceremony nerves out by seeing each other. For me especially, I feel like was just so nice to feel like we just felt so grounded going into the ceremony, having already seen each other. And so obviously the emotions might have been different had we done it coming down the aisle for the very first time, but I think like logistics wise and just like overall general personal comfort for both of us, we both felt really, really good about how the timeline of the day went. Are you tired of people assuming there's drama with influencers that weren't there? God. In the grand scheme of things, we had quite a small wedding. It was 95 people, including us. And I think like the biggest thing to remember if you are someone who's sitting there being like, why wasn't insert this person's name here, is that this is maybe like, as of right now, the most sentimental day of our entire lives so far. And so I think that just like if Jeremy and I don't have, you know, that level of relationship with someone, there's a good chance that they're just like a friendly acquaintance that there is no beef with, there is no drama with. We wanted to keep our wedding intimate, and it's not a brand event, you know? The guest list might have looked different if this was a brand event, but this is one of the most important and sentimental days of our lives. And we were so lucky to be able to spend the day with our closest friends and family members. But short answer is yes, I am tired of it, and it's not that deep, and I urge you to touch some grass. Where can we hear the full version of the song that Jeremy recorded for you? So Voctive is going to be releasing it. Apparently there's a whole fucking second verse, and I haven't even heard that version of it. So as soon as I know more, you will know more, because Voctive will be releasing it. They own the song, not Jeremy, and so we don't entirely know the exact rollout plan for it, but yes, Voctive will be releasing the full version of it, and I am just as excited as you are. Did you sign a prenup? Yes, we absolutely signed a prenup. I feel like in modern day relationships, especially like Jeremy and I are 30 and 32, like at this point in our lives, we both have our own assets and liabilities. Like I have a very large mortgage on a house, obviously. So it's like if you don't sign a prenup, that becomes his debt as well. So going into the marriage, contractually, we kept things very just like simple. And I think also too, we had the foundation of already owning a business together. Obviously with Wild Till 9, we own the business 50-50. So we've already done a lot of the groundwork that I think some couples can find a little bit awkward to have conversations about. But yes, we did sign a prenup. I feel like in modern day relationships, I highly, highly recommend. And I just don't believe that it kind of falls into that category of like, not trusting a person and planning for failure. Like that's just not at all how I view a prenup. Truly no judgment to any couple that goes into their marriage without a prenup. Just you know, do what feels right for you and your partner. Do you regret not changing into flats? No, actually my second pair of shoes was actually comfier than my first pair. They had like a really chunky platform on them, and I wore them maybe like a week before for like an hour around the house just to make sure there wasn't gonna be like a sneak attack of something pointy or sharp or something that was cutting into me and gonna blister. So I was actually relieved when I changed into those platforms. But I also think that the industry that I work in has trained me for long evenings where I can just black out how my feet feel, if that makes sense. Thinking back to Craftopia being on set for 14 hours wearing freaking like stilettos, I think about how that's probably not normal for the average person who works like a desk desk job or a regular 9 to 5. And so like, I genuinely think like if you are in pain, you should change into flats. Like it's not worth looking cute to ruin your night and feel shitty. It's 100% not worth it. After your day of testing, what lipstick did you decide to go with? Oh, this is a great question. And I was so excited to follow up on this. Okay, so I have this on right now actually. The Patrick Ta lip liner in She's Strong. And then I ended up going with the NYX product that we tested. Is it the color shine, the color shine, stay, long shine, stay, whatever the NYX product was that I tested. I did that with this and then the clear gloss on top, and that shit stayed so well. I am signing off a check mark of approval for that. Shine loud. NYX shine loud, stay long. There's just adding adjectives. The NYX shine loud in Global Citizen was the color that I wore, and 100% recommend for your wedding day. Have you listened to the messages that people left? And if so, how were the responses? Oh my God, you guys, if you're in the midst of wedding planning or even thinking about the wedding that you might have in 10 years, I cannot recommend doing an audio guest book more. Oh my God, it was the sweetest, most endearing, funniest thing ever to listen back to the messages. People came back and did a message again later on the night once I'd started drinking. And so the vibes are very different as we went from the beginning to the end of the evening. I also like the idea of the guest book that becomes, you know, a coffee table book for memories later on, but I cannot recommend having your friends' voices preserved as your audio guest book enough. Oh my God, some of these were hilarious. Like it just is so nice to have it all in one audio file. I think we had just over 15 minutes of messages, which might seem short, but so many of our friends and family, and it's just so nice to be able to hear their voice saying whatever they have prepped or have not prepped. And shout out to the wedding guests that left just 20 seconds of sex sounds. No name sign off, no hello, no goodbye. I'm still trying to debunk who that was, but that is the type of surprise, of gift that you get with an audio guest book. If you can relive a moment again, what moment would it be? I think walking down the aisle with both of my parents and seeing Jeremy at the front and all of my friends and family on both sides was just such a surreal moment. I could literally, again, I know I'm PMSing and I am so weird, but I could literally burst into tears thinking about that moment. It was so special and it's just so amazing. I know that you're surrounded by all these people for the entire evening, but that's kind of that first moment where you're like, oh shit, we're doing this. Like we're doing this and everyone's here. What did you guys do when you got home after the wedding? Not consummate. If that's what you're asking. When I tell you that I got home, I love how I just finished this whole spiel about how I know how to just like block out the pain of high heels, but no, truly, like when I got home, I was in so much pain. I was like scraped up and like kind of bleeding from like the top of the corset portion of dress number 1. And then there did end up being, I'm not even sure if it was from shoes 1 or shoes 2, but there was something bleeding on my foot. I was in so much pain. Like literally everything hurt. Everything hurt. I also have been having issues. This is gonna make me sound so incredibly in my 30s, but I'm having issues with my left hip flexor. And so like that was in a lot of pain as well too. If anyone wants to consult with me about the tingling that I have going on behind my knee right now before my next physio appointment next week, that would be super cool. So anyways, I was in pain in basically every part of my body, and we got home on the couch. I died again, just like, I was like, don't fucking touch me. I'm in so much pain. I think we had a snack and we went to sleep. And then we consummated, you know, eventually. But that night we truly were, I was very much in like a everything hurts state. And yeah, so that's the answer to that. Oh, what type of bra did you wear with your wedding dress? I'm wearing a similar dress. Love that for you, love that for us. I'll insert a photo of what the inner cuppy situation was on both dresses, because my God, Maybe this is oversharing, but the way that my boobs on wedding day were boobing, oh my God. I've never looked like I've had bigger boobs in my entire life, I don't think. I can't recall a time when my boobs have boobed harder than they boobed on wedding day. And that's just a fact. The seamstress that did my alterations sewed in these A-sized push-up cups in both dresses, and it was the best. Not having to think about if like a chicken cutlet was like sticking out, or if it was slipping, or if you should go braless, or wearing a strapless bra and then it leaving marks on your back if you're changing into a second dress. This was truly the way to go if you are, I mean, most dresses you have to do the alteration process. Highly, highly recommend. What did you keep? So again, the bouquet, which I selfishly did not toss, kept the bouquet. I obviously have my dresses. We have our invitations. We had these amazing iridescent mousse and diggy cocktail napkins. So I was able to, well, no, I told my wedding planner, I was like, if there is one thing that you keep from this wedding, please let it be an iridescent mousse and diggy napkin. So she grabbed me a couple of those. We actually had our table numbers, which I don't really know what to do with because they're kind of like, they got deconstructed. I don't know if you can see it, but right here is our sign that we had on the bar for the his and her drink. So I have that. And then I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, we have our little drink tags that say bride and groom that were on our glasses. But no, yeah, anything that was like not oversized, I wanted to keep all of it because I'm a hoarder and also sentimental. Did you think about covering up your tattoos, or did you know you wanted to show them off? Oh, there was no world where I was covering my tattoos. I also think that like the complications of having to have makeup covering your arms while wearing a white dress is not something I would even consider ever. But no, my tattoos are a part of me, and I think every family member at this point knows that. Even Mom DIY, I don't think would ever even request that I cover my tattoos. Even Nana DIY, who obviously was not able to be there with us, but was there in memory, and also in necklace form. All of the women in my family on the Japanese side have name necklaces, and when my Nana passed, I got passed down her name necklace, and so I wore that on the wedding day alongside just like a little sparkly choker. So that was kind of, you know, nice to have her there with me. But I think even Nana DIY would support the tattoos just being regular, because this is just what I look like. Like, this is just my body, and there's no part of me that wants to change anything about me on my wedding day. Anything Jeremy was surprised about or didn't know about until the wedding day? Fucking all of it. What do you mean? Literally so much. He's like, wow, this looks really good. This looks really good. Babe, you did a great job. Oh, Lauren, this looks good. This looks better than what I thought it was gonna look like when you kind of explained it to me. Like the photo booth, for example, he had no idea. I don't even think he realized that it was a photo booth and just like not part of just like the general decor of the area. Yeah, no, there was a lot. That was a first time surprise for Jeremy, for sure. Did you get any pushback for having a non-traditional colorful wedding? No, I don't think a single person was like, wish you had gone for some boring colors. I don't think I saw a single comment, whether it be from someone online or anyone in like my friends or family. I knew from really early on that I wanted to have a colorful wedding. I feel like that very much embodies us as a couple. And I mean, like, look at the background of like my office, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I can't not have pops of color. And as beautiful as traditional weddings are, where it's just like green and white, I just feel like that wasn't the right mood for us. And so I've only seen positive reviews. Shockingly, I feel like someone always has something to say about, you know, decisions that are a little more bold or colorful. But I'm so happy with how everything turned out, and I feel like I went with my gut from the beginning, and it turned out so, like, it just exceeded the expectations of what I thought a colorful wedding could even look like. We need bingo updates. Girl, it's a whole podcast episode and you are a week behind, but I'm so happy for you because that means that you can go and listen to the whole thing right now. How did people react to an unplugged wedding? People were so incredibly respectful. Oh my God, so respectful. I feel like it's becoming more common now that like, whether you're a content creator or not, couples will request that during the ceremony, people don't have their phones up. That's like the peak of the marriage ceremony portion of it, and it's so emotional. And like when you get your photos and your video, like to have your aunt in the back with like her iPad out taking a video, a shitty video, like a really shitty video that is not going to be better than the professional photos and videos that you are going to get. I feel like that's becoming more common, and I'm 100% on board with that. And then because we had to just have kind of like that security portion in mind for it too, we requested that on the welcome party and the day of, that just everyone holds posting for literally just like, I think we said like 4 or 5 days until midweek. Social media is in fact my job, and Jeremy and I think naturally wanted to be the first ones to talk about our wedding, which I feel like is a natural inclination, and so that's what we requested, and everyone was so incredibly respectful of that. I think we only had one issue with it really, was with like one vendor who posted something a little bit early that was a little bit shady, but other than that, everything else I think was 10 out of 10. So we got a lot of questions about what's something you did that wasn't traditional but so happy you did it your way. So I've already touched on a few things, but one of the other big ones is that I know that traditionally couples spend the night before the wedding apart. I would have hated that. I would have hated that, hated that, hated that. Again, just like being so nervous and having so many like pre-wedding jitters, like not to be confused with cold feet, but just like thinking like about how much is about to unfold and happen and how many people are here to see us get married and like the logistics of everything. Like, there's just so much going on that Jeremy is my person and I to Jeremy, and I feel like we ground each other in a way that no one else can. And so having to like do an unfamiliar nighttime routine the night before the wedding, I would have absolutely hated. Like waking up together and being like, holy shit, we're getting married today, like see you at the venue and then it's happening, was so nice. Like we had a quick little breakfast together and had our little morning. I think we practiced our first dance one more time that morning, and like that was so special, and I couldn't imagine having done it any other way. Need to see the wedding band close up. Okay, here we go. I feel like my hands are so incredibly dry right now. I have more photos as well too, but essentially because of the way that my diamond is sat in the diamond setting, I had the band custom made so it kind of curves out around the diamond setting, or else the bands wouldn't be able to sit next to each other. So let's see if I can. Okay, so you can see that it dips down here because it has to go around the setting. So essentially if we didn't have this like little groove down here, the band would be sitting like way down here because it would get stopped at the diamond. So anyways, yeah, a cute little pave. So from the front, it looks like that. So it looks like the band is just like sitting normally, but then you're like, wha-bam, a little curve. And it's cute and perfect, and I love putting it on every single day. Did you serve the cake? Photos make it look like you took almost the whole thing home. No, literally, we took almost the entire thing home. So this is, I think, becoming again more common, but we essentially had our wedding cake maker make us big sheet cakes of the exact same flavor, so that when it got served, it was just like an easy, just like slice and serve situation. And then we had our cake to do like the photos with, and to do like the cake cutting, and then to take home. We didn't end up keeping the top layer or anything, but we did eat so much of the wedding cake in the days following the wedding. I also sent home a big chunk of it with Mia, who also is a fiend for funfetti, and it was a hit. It was an all-around hit for every single guest, and raving reviews. But yeah, it was like a sheet cake in the back that gets cut up. It's just so great for like time, efficiency, flavor gets to stay the exact same. It's literally the best. Highly recommend having just like a separate sheet cake ready to go. Can you talk about the logistics and timeline of the day? Okay, so I got a lot of questions because I feel like people felt like the day was really long. I think based on the vlog as well too. And truly, I feel like although the day went by so fast, I also feel like we had a really great amount of time there. And there was only one moment right before ceremony where we were finishing up our portraits where I did feel a little bit rushed, and I almost didn't have time to have like a last minute nervous pee pre-ceremony. But I have my full timeline up here, and I'll give you the rundown. So my mom and I left my house at 10 a.m., which is such a great start time. There are so many brides that like start their hair and makeup, especially if they have a really big bridal party at like 7 a.m. I know girls that have had their hair and makeup done at like 5:30 a.m. So a 10 a.m. pickup is incredible. Maybe we were like 10-15 minutes late getting just everything loaded up, and obviously my mom, we were just like being really careful with like her movements and moving slowly. Got to the venue and hair and makeup was there waiting. I did some little vloggy bits, ran around like a the little content creator that I am. And then we had until I think 2 o'clock to do makeup. So we had literally 3 hours set aside to get hair and makeup done. And we definitely did not need that much time. I think we finished early. My mom started her makeup at 12:45. She did hair first. So we probably finished makeup maybe like 1:30, and then I got dressed at 2:30. 3 o'clock we did the reveal with my dad. 3:15. Okay, and so then post reveal with my dad, I think that's when we moved on to first, no, we did, okay, no, okay, sorry, hang on, got it. 3 p.m. bride and father of bride reveal, 3:15 bride and friend reveal, 3:30 first look and reveal with Jeremy. And then from 3:30 until 5, Jeremy and I knocked out all of our photos together in the ceremony space and like under that beautiful arch. We also did photos with all of our friends and family, and we had a very specific shot list so that we could just like knock everything out really quickly. So like Lauren and Mia, Lauren, Mia, Remy, Lauren, Remy, Lauren, Maggie, Lauren, Kelsey, Lauren, Maggie, Kelsey, Lauren, Danny, Lauren, Lana, group all together. And so it went like that for literally all of the friends and family members, and our photographer was so on it and was just like, you and you, now you and you. And so doing that before the ceremony, like I can't imagine having this section slotted between the ceremony and the reception. Like having this done was amazing. It does definitely feel a little bit like a conveyor belt of like photos that are being taken, but like looking back and having those photos with like all the specific people that you want to have those moments with is so worth it. And I think because I had all of my friends just come ready and come dressed, like we just like, it just, I don't know, it flew by, but it also didn't feel rushed, and it was so great. 5 o'clock was invite time and everyone got seated. Jeremy and I finished up our photos. We went back to, no, actually we went right from photos to emergency pre-ceremony pee. And I think we might have been running 10 minutes behind here because we got some extra photos because the photographers were just like loving the venue and they were really excited about it. And listen, I love that they loved that, and the photos are incredible and speak for themselves. 5:25. Ceremony begins, 6 p.m. ceremony concludes, and then Jeremy and I, right after the ceremony, went up into the little bridal suite. We had our moment to like sit, hang. We got like a solid 20-30 minutes, have our snack. Then we got taken down to the reception area so that we could do some photos and see it before it starts getting filled up. We went into kind of like the building that's at the venue while everyone got seated. While everyone's in cocktail hour concludes. That was like the one section that we didn't really get to spend much time in, was cocktail hour. But it was so great because that's where we got our little break and got to see the reception area. 7:15 grand entrance. We went right into our first dance. We got sat down at the sweetheart table. Parents to the bride do the welcome speech. Then we ate dinner, then Jeremy and I did a thank you speech, then we did cake cutting, group photo on the dance floor opens, that's 8:50 p.m. And then we had until midnight. And that is the timeline. That is the entire timeline of the day. How did it feel having a choreographed first dance? Oh my God. So not only was it so much fun and like the photos are amazing, I'm so happy with how it turned out in the videos, but I think just like being a planner, I loved and just felt so much more comfortable going into the first dance, knowing exactly what we were going to be doing. And so we worked with a choreographer that my friend Kyle Hanagami introduced us to. And so she choreographed us the most beautiful and also just like doable and simple, but still really pretty first dance. It was just under 2 minutes, I think. And obviously our first dance song was to the song that Jeremy recorded with PHOTOBOOTH. And so that version actually ended up being a little bit slower than the Haley Reinhart version of Can't Help. For the first time in vlog history, my camera just overheated and died Battery, totally fine. Memory card, lots of space. My vlog camera literally just said, good night. So anyways, to finish that last sentence, the version of Can't Help Falling in Love that Jeremy recorded was a little bit slower than the Haley Reinhart version that we were originally gonna dance to. So I think a choreographer had cut the song, the dance, to 1:30, and it ended up being just about 2 minutes. But anyways, loved having a plan, loved knowing exactly what I was gonna do, and knowing that we had like a few cute little lifty moments was like a fun surprise for our guests. Okay, so the last 2 questions are the most common. Getting into the nitty gritty, the fine details, the meat and potatoes of the wedding. The questions that I consistently saw were about what was the biggest regret? What did you spend the most on that wasn't worth it? What did you spend the most on that was worth it? What was the budget? How much did you spend? We're gonna get into all of this. I've made notes so I don't forget anything. Things that I regret spending money on and would definitely recommend being in the lower tier of priorities for your budget. So number 1 were custom invitations. You can 100% have cute as fuck invitations if you even want to go the printed route. I know that people love having the keepsake, and I think there's a world where I would do this again. And no, sorry, I want to be very clear, I'm not doing this again. I don't want to have another wedding, and also I don't want to get divorced and have another wedding to someone else. I want Jeremy. Our wedding was perfect and it was all great. What I meant to say is that if I were faced with another like formal invitation situation, I genuinely think that I might just get like 1 printed for the memories for us to have, and maybe like a few others for like close friends and family, but like maybe even just do an Evite. I don't know. If you want to go the more traditional route though, and you want to save the coin, Canva has incredible templates. The Knot, obviously not sponsored, but The Knot also has amazing templates. Etsy has so many great ones that you can just customize all of your things, and it's already pre-designed. I wish that I had saved the money and not done custom invitations. They were beautiful though. I'll insert a photo. They were absolutely stunning. But I'm gonna be honest, it ended up being not worth it in my personal opinion, and I wish that I had just gone the route of a template because there's so many great ones. Number 2, we spent, when I show you the breakdown of how we used our budget, a lot of it was in rentals. And so rentals includes everything from like chairs to tables to things that you do absolutely need, especially like on the cooler night that we had where we had heating lamps, but it's everything that you have to bring in. So forks, knives, the cake tray, the cake serving utensils, side plates, your bread and butter, all your glassware, all of the serveware that like your waitstaff uses. So Hummingbird Nest Ranch as a venue doesn't provide you anything, so you bring in everything, which is common, especially for like a lot of these like outdoor venues. So we brought in everything. What I do think is that I blacked out a little bit while we were designing and picking things out. I think that rentals is somewhere that we ended up spending more and going over budget, but I was already in love with what we had chosen and how it all came together. It looked so beautiful and I don't regret any of it, to be fully transparent. But we did spend much more in the rentals category than I had anticipated, and the price difference between like 2 wood tables can sometimes be so crazy. And so I definitely think that if I was trying to scale back my budget, rentals is definitely a category where I could have done so. And then the last one was hiring a content creator. So the reality of my experience and situation was that I honestly had a really hard time. I ended up with so much footage that was unusable, and it was honestly devastating. I spent so many days after the wedding being so stressed and upset and trying to problem solve the situation, especially like being a content creator. Like, this is my job, this is what I do. And thank God we had the most incredible professional videographer and photographer. So our why did I say that so weird? Photographer. We have amazing professional photos and videos, but like as a content creator, putting my trust into someone else to capture the content that is so much of what I do is just like a job, and just like the devastation that I felt when so much of the footage was unusable, that is for you guys and the vlog channel. And like I was devastated. I was absolutely devastated. And so I don't know, like it was really difficult to navigate. Obviously by the amount of content that's gone out, I was able to salvage some of it. But a lot of the wedding day vlog was, you might have noticed, in slow motion. That was not the original plan. And you know, like obviously there's benefits to being in slow motion and it's very emotional and sentimental and some of it works, but I don't know, it was just, you just can't get those moments back. And so I wish that I had hired someone that I know personally and trust. And I think also too, I was able to piece together an entire first dance video from like 5 different videos from people who were just filming on their iPhone. I've been collecting videos that just friends and family have taken from the reception portion of the night as well too. And like I was able to edit a full first dance video using videos that were taken from friends. And so I honestly think just doing a shared album with wedding guests as soon as you allow your guests to, you know, start capturing parts of the night, I think is honestly fine. Or if you are a content creator by career, just hiring someone that you know personally and trust, you know, to hold your weekend, your wedding weekend, in their literal hands. Moving on to parts of the wedding that were so worth the amount that we spent, were professional photographers and videographers. I did such an intense search for the right people and people that were gonna be the right fit, because I feel like having shitty wedding photos and videos, like obviously you have the memories that like live on in your mind, but the photos and the video are what you have afterwards that are a big part of being able to relive those moments. And so making sure that you hire someone that is a great reflection of your style, but also obviously fits into your budget. But I just can't tell you how happy we are with our professional photos and videos. And I've never heard anyone complain ever about having too good of photos and videos, but I have heard people complain about not hiring a videographer or having photos that they are not happy with. And then I think the other one was a welcome party. A welcome party was something that we decided on kind of like midway through the planning process, and I loved being able to have such a casual night with all of our friends and family that we hadn't seen in so long, people who had flown in from Canada, Chicago, Kentucky, and it was so nice being able to kind of like divide and conquer also too, because our goal for the weekend was for on the welcome party, we would separate and just like cover as much ground as possible and talk to as many people as we could and have all those catch-up conversations, and then on wedding day, stay together as much as possible because it's so easy to get separated and pulled in different directions. I think having the welcome party to do all those intro conversations was so nice, and we were focused more on the guests, and then on wedding day we got to focus on the actual ceremony and each other. Okay, and last section of the Q&A to finish it off is all things budget, all things money, all things about how much money we spent on the wedding, because I got so many questions about the exact dollar amount, like what is the exact dollar amount check that you wrote for this entire wedding. It's like, don't see the point making this like gossip vibes, like, oh my god, how much did LaurDIY spend on her wedding? Oh my god, this is such a waste of money, and I get into the money. I want to make this actually helpful because truthfully, everyone's budget is so different, and literally, like the cost of weddings change so much, whether it's city to city, state to state, country to country. Even like my exact wedding, what I paid for it this year, in a year from now is gonna be more expensive. Like I'm literally trying to convince Remy to book all of her vendors now because things just continue to increase in price. Like pre-COVID weddings, what those cost are so much more affordable than post-COVID weddings, and like that's just the reality of the wedding industry. It's crazy how much I've learned about this whole industry and how much things cost. It is crazy. So anyways, I get it. I'm curious. I'm nosy as well too. I love making estimates on how much influencer or celeb weddings cost. What I will say, it was 6 figures, but it was a responsible amount for what our income level is, but also less than a lot of influencer weddings that have happened recently. The tea on the sponsors situation is that the thought of waking up after getting married and having to do a deliverable, edit a TikTok, record a voiceover or something is my literal worst nightmare. I totally get it. I've seen some makeup girlies, you know, do a sponsored wedding before and like their reception is more sponsored. I totally get it. Get your bag. I truly understand to my core how expensive weddings are. But for us, that was just not what we were looking for. I didn't want there to be a logo on any element of our wedding. So although I'm sure I could have sought out a sponsor or two venue to give us money for the wedding. Everything that I did in terms of any exchange or collab was in exchange for either gifting or a discount. There was not a single brand during the wedding that gave us money for the wedding. So yes, I was able to leverage obviously like my job and my career to get discounts for a few things. So that would be photo booth, attire, and florals, but no one gave us money. I literally went into our budget spreadsheet today and made a motherfucking pie chart of the wedding expense breakdown, and we are gonna walk through it together. Okay, so starting with venue, 7% of the budget. I genuinely think that Hummingbird Nest Ranch is undervalued for how stunning it is, for how gorgeous it is, how much I loved it. I think that truly the venue is undervalued. So coming in at 7% of the budget was Hummingbird Nest Ranch. Food and drink, I think this is a little bit average, maybe even a little bit low, came in at 17%. I do think that's one of the categories that is always worth spending the money on. We did do open bar, but I think because our guest count was also at that 95 number mark, I think it was a little bit lower than some other weddings have spent in the past percentage-wise. Rentals, 19%. Maybe this isn't actually low. I guess in the grand scheme of things, like, you need tables and chairs and forks and knives and cups to like have the meal. We did obviously have a few elements that were like quite extra. Like we had that white stage at the front. It was like nothing crazy, but I think as a wedding guest, one of my biggest pet peeves is not being able to see the couple at the front. So I never want someone at the back to have like a different viewing experience than the people in the front, if that makes sense. So we did that little platform at the front and the white aisle leading up to it. And so that would fall into that rentals category as well. And then we had a stage for our DJ and those arches behind it. And so those are other things that fall into that rentals category. Paper goods, 1%, wish it was 0 or 0.02%. Photo video, 13%. Every dollar that we spent towards our professional photo and video, 100% would do again. Planner, 5%. My planner, Marnie, at 5%, truly also undervalued. I think that she should be charging more, and I tipped her to reflect that sentiment because she was the backbone of this entire thing. And so for our spending cost to only be 5% on her involvement is crazy, and I think that she should raise her prices because she was amazing and we got so lucky, and I cannot recommend So Smitten Planning enough. Okay, so this is miscellaneous. So this is security, insurance, transportation, also tips for all of the vendor staff, the wait staff, the bar staff. The tipping category was also something that ended up being much larger than I anticipated. There's so many people that are involved in planning a wedding, which totally makes sense. And so that was a category that ended up being, I guess, just bigger than I thought about. There was also like a generator that we had to pay for to power the twinkle tent, which is coming, and I cannot wait to talk about. But that was a necessary category where I feel like you don't really actually have that much control over the cost of like insurance. Welcome party, 7%. Again, another cost that I think was so worth it in the grand scheme of the weekend. And then 12%. So I think if I didn't have obviously the exchange and collaborations here, especially for florals, my florals were from Mel at Ginger Snap, who again was absolutely incredible. I mean, you've seen the photos, they speak for themselves, they are stunning. But this includes the florals, the twinkle tent, which was hands down my favorite decor element of the entire wedding. Bitch, I want a twinkle tent over every single element of my life. I want to walk around with a permanent twinkle tent over top of me because it was stunning, it was beautiful, and it made the atmosphere of the entire wedding. It just elevated everything. Oh my God, it was the best last minute ad that we had, 100%. And then I also have, I think, the builds category. So this would be like the seating chart, arch sign, this would be the little place cards, this would be like the welcome sign. Like they were like bigger builds that were like 5 or 6 feet, so that falls into that category as well. And then last category is entertainment, DJ, the photo booth, and music. 9%, again, I think worth spending the money on if it's in your budget. We did a string quartet for the ceremony and the cocktail hour, and they were amazing. They were so talented. And then we had our friend DJ, and so obviously like he got paid. So yes, the DJ was our friend, but we still paid for it. And then I think having any kind of entertainment, like people love something to do, and a photo booth, I mean, the lounge booth guys absolutely slayed it, and it was so good. So that's the breakdown. That is everything. And again, because my dresses were gifted from Netta Ben Shabu and Jackson James Bridal Boutique, that's a category that's not in the pie chart. And then my accessories, because I bought everything from Etsy and Amazon, they were so small that it ended up being a point of a percentage, so I didn't even include it just to have some nice round numbers. Okay, I can literally see the little temperature little icon flashing again. This video is gonna be so long. This is the end. I feel like my voice is going hoarse. If you have more questions or I didn't get to your question, leave them in the comments and I will answer as many as I can, because I know that there are screenshots that I skipped over, but for the sake of the length of this video already, I hope that you have given yourself a refill of your beverage and maybe gotten a second or third or fourth round of your snack. I'm excited to get back into regular day-to-day vlogging, just regular life as we settle into life as a married couple. That sounds fucking crazy. Okay, I'm officially out of breath and my camera is overheating, so I will see you guys in the next vlog. Bye guys.